Okay, hello guys here. Welcome to my channel again. I'm GM Minh Le here, and hopefully you get a good time. So once again here, we're back to another speedrun game, right? When we are trying to learn some chess, trying to, I guess, have fun with chess as well, and I can try to explain something I can in terms of some questions, some kind of skills, some techniques, or what I see in the game. We play one game of 10 minutes plus 0 second increment as usual when I'm trying to explain my thinking process in a game, right? And you can surely try to ask me the questions later on if you have it, or something that I do not explain enough, right? Let's start right away, and hopefully people can enjoy things. Let's go. Okay, we met a 1200 player from, I think, Australia. Should be good here for sure. Should be good for sure. Be careful. Okay, let's play Nasus here. I can play plenty of things, but I think for today I will try some kind of, I think, Queen's Gambit stuff. D5. Should F4, I suppose. Knight E5. This is very rare. I expect something like bishop F4, Lunar System, or C4, which I will play here and get the game back to the Queen's Gambit decline. Knight E5 is super rare though. The idea for him, I guess, is he wants to get a strong square in the center, but even for me, even at my level, this is not that popular as well. I think I can just develop properly. I think so, right? I guess we'll C5. Trying to challenge the center. Now this one is good too, I think so. It's not good thing, best thing as well, when you can try to challenge his knight right away. But here, so I want to explore the fact that he is making a second move with the knight here, and that weaken his center a little bit. So I want to exploit this instantly. DC5. So now I play here, right? As you can see in the game here, you take with the knight here. Since I'm attacking the pawn and I as well in the same time, he decides to take the knight on c6 here. We take the b pawn obviously right away, right? And go the pawn. Normally, the idea to play here for black is always e5. Not only you get a strong center, but also the pawn can be attacked, right? And now we regain the pawn. You can see here, now we get into a situation when we equalize the material, right? And we had a strong center. Also, we had more space as well. So things obviously looks very good for now, right? Castles. Okay, so now here comes the first, I think, instructive moment of the game. Black obviously is having some more space and a stronger center, isn't it? Here you can be able to play various stuff. For instance, you can bring rook to e8 here. You can also feel free to play bishop f5, which I think is also a strong move, right? Developing and put pressure on pawn c2. But here, I will play something else. I will play e4. I try to expand more in the center. Also, I open up this diagonal too as well. And now, as you can see here, I will be ready to start the attack on this diagonal by using the queen and the bishop battery. Also by e4, I kind of prevent him from doing the same thing, which as you can see, he will really struggle to find a way to develop his pieces, right? Bishop, namely. So now, this pawn here is weak, but in fact, he had no good way to attack it. That sounds familiar. That really reminds me of the Dania song. Just kidding. But here, if he plays c4 or here and here, he may be able to attack the pawn. But here, this pawn, although it is, I think it is considered like a pawn that is kind of slow advance. I forget the name of it, but it's like the pawn that is like behind the others. But in fact, white cannot really attack the pawn, so the pawn may not be called a weakness. C3 is very weakened. Yeah, backward pawn. Thank you, my friend. Backward pawn. You're right, buddy. This is very weakening and also super passive as well. Not only now he had no other plans, but also this one make the bishop here become a big pawn in my opinion. Now we will just keep on justifying our plan. Queen e5. Now mating threat can be seen. G3 is the only way kind of, but okay. The game finished super quickly here, which once again I am not so expect that, but GG. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oops, as people may say. But still, I think there are still some questions and some kind of thing I can try to explain over the game. I'm pretty sure it's not a very strong game for me, and my opponent just play a poor game. Well, I mean, if we get to some higher level games, I think it will get slowly harder. I'm pretty sure when we get to like 1400, 1500, the games can get more, I think, instructive. But here, if I carry out some good attacks, I think I can be able to win quickly. That's how it is. Okay, so let's try to analyze the game a little bit here. In the game here, so I did plan to go for the queen's gambit. Decline. Just like c4 here, right? And then like knight c3, I can play Rogozin, or I can play bishop e7, I can play here, I can play here, I can play here, whatever. In the game, he played knight e5. A super rare line though. And it obviously violates one of the rules of the opening. You don't want to make a move with one piece a lot, right? Here, so in the game, I play c5. I can surely play this, or this, as people here may wonder, to challenge this line right away. But here, I believe that, sometimes the best way to challenge your opponent, slow in development is trying to take instant right away. This c5 is never a concern. I can play here if I really want to regain a pawn, right? Or I can play here as well, which put extreme pressure on him, like here for instance. And now I can put big pressure on him as well in the pawn chain. So here it's not easy for him at all. He played knight c3, which I think is fair. He wants to go for the pawn here as well, but this one I think is somewhat imprecise. e3 or c3 may be a better way to keep on working with the plan, right? In the game, so knight c3 was played, knight c6. Not only attacking on e5, but putting pressure on here as well. In fact, so this is, I would say, a very common way to deal with this kind of setup for black. Since somehow here, what I can mention is like, or if you play here right away, right? You will not be able to play c5 anymore, and then somehow it restricts pieces a little bit. One of your, I think, very common play in the center is now gone, which makes your play somewhat harder, right? In the game here, so play here right away. I guess he can play e3, which I do consider the best move. But I think I will play the same thing, queen c7. Still put extreme pressure on his knight here, right? In here as well. And once again, I seem to get a strong center. f4 can be a try here, but I can just like, I don't know, I think I'll play like here. And then I take this one with bishop b4 and play knight 4 as well too, when I'm pretty sure I will never be in any kind of troubles. In the game here, so he played here, which is understandable, but sadly, it allowed me to get a very strong center. Take here. e3 now is pawn 4 to keep his pawn on d4 alive. But I can just, I think if I were black here, I can just play like bishop here and get my pieces out, with I think a very simple play. in the game takes e5. I got a strong start already, right? And things here become really annoying. b4 is not good here due to a5. When a3 doesn't work, the rook here is hanging, right? And he couldn't do it. Okay, so I think you mentioned here, I think so here, right? So here, e3, this, and b5, queen b8. I still have the same threat. When the knight move here is nothing more than just a one move threat, you know. I can push here later on if I want to get the knight away. Also, the knight here is still pressured, right? Take here is even worse now since the knight here is under attack. So this move here, I mean, is a good thing to do, but normally, if you can't make things happen here, wouldn't be the right way. f3, I'm just like, you know, I think you play bishop g4 and I can start developing pieces. As you can see here, so by these two knight moves, right, it just took white plenty of time. So I can develop properly and be able to have a position where I am much better developed, right? And I got good chances as well. Good chances as well. In the game here, so e5 here, e3. Now while rushes on development, which I think is slow. Next here, e2, castles, castles. So now here I think e4 is a very strong move, which I want to say is like a thing that is really nice for sure and not something super simple to be seen in early level. The thing is that I can see black is having a position with really good space initiative. So by expanding things here, I can restrict white pieces even more. Also now I see the idea here to go for the bishop and queen battery. Somehow, if I play like here for instance, right, which is good too, he can play like maybe knight a4, b3, and he can try to develop properly here, I guess so. But by e4, not only I save some more space, but I think my plan is becoming very clear. Very clear. Obviously, knight a4 here must be try, and this, b3, but here I have the chance to go for maybe like queen c7, taking the pawn here, right? Or I can also think about maybe like, you know, knight d7 as well, and play like queen g5, knight a5, right? When I can build a very strong attack. For instance, you see, right? A very strong and dangerous looking attack in the king side, isn't it? So if I play here right away, white can probably play f3, maybe, you know, and e4. And he can close our plan, you know, which will make it not easy for us here to fight another's. So somehow I think here e4 is a very constructive one. That not only I can restrict his pieces, his space, but also now I have a very good plan here and I already want to attack in the king side. e4 is the way to make it work. Well, if Blissarian, I think you want to say like why you don't like go for the battery here, right? The thing here is that here somehow, so you are always somewhat slower. Queen e7 he play here, and queen e5 is impossible. In the same manner, bishop a7, c7 here, right? Bishop e3. Prevent here as well. Obviously, if white could not for this one, it is a dream for you. But if you could for this move, somehow you cannot really try to go for battery. That is an issue, right? So here it is not easy at all for him to defend here. In the game, he already went. I mean, I think h3 is already a wrong move. You will understand things much clearer later on. But this one now, although seems to be a natural one, is a wrong one. Queen e7. Bishop here first. Knight a4. Queen e7. Now this is kind of impossible to be stopped. Since queen d4 to c5, you know. And the queen can be kicked away. So here in the game, c3 is super terrible. c4 is gone for at the very least. Although sadly, it's not a good move here as well. queen e5. And now I think you can understand why I will call that a mistake, right? Since now g3 is the only way to defend the mate, leads to the pawn being dropped, isn't it? f4 is never a good thing to do here. I can simply play in person, which give me a very strong position. Rook f3 is mated by queen h2, king f2, knight e4, and mate here will follow very soon. Bishop f3 here is also can be tried, but also very wrong here. I mean, like, let's say for instance, like here, and you can win an exchange, right? If you want to. Obviously, you can be able to go for more like knight e4, you know, with I think also a super strong attack. Considering the fact that white pieces are super misplaced. Could here try f4 instead h3? I mean, f4 here can be a try, you know, but then it can lead to a different type of position when I can just take in person and the pawn e3 here. Now, as you can see, became a huge weakness, right? Let's say here, for instance, and now I can change my plan. I can definitely look for the same thing as well later on, but now, for now, the pawn here is a huge weakness, right? For instance, rook e1 defend the pawn, right? Queen e7, keep on pressuring that, and trying to go like queen e5, bishop f5, and I think this pawn here, obviously, is a huge weakness, isn't it? In the game here, so he blunder mate in a very unexpected manner. But sadly, it is already hard to say what's the best defense. Since g3 here, there's a pawn, and already it can be allowing a super strong kind of attack, right? Somehow here, what I can say is that even if it doesn't h3, let's say knight e4, right? Here, let's say whatever c3 here in the game, right? Queen e7, should e2, queen e5. This is already super annoying though, but he can play g3 still, right? So now it will be the last thing I can give to you in this game. But here, if you are black, here how can you continue your attack? That's the thing I want to ask here for you guys to answer. I'm pretty sure here there can be many different options for black to continue the assault. Just want to ask you here, what do you think you can do here in able to obtain a very good positions? Here, so there are many options, many options. Bishop h3 can be good, but obviously you need to see like what is next, right? Somehow here, bishop here is a very natural one, but you might not be able to find next thing here to do right away. For me here, I will give you two moves, two choices here, which I think will lead to a very good attack. First one, h5. The Harry h-pawn attack is a very common idea here. In this line, right? In this set of variations. When you want to play h4 next. And now, as you see here, you can severely weaken his king side. Take here, allow miss right away, right? c4 now, just take, I think like queen g5 for instance. And now there can be all kind of sacrifices. For instance, take here, right? Takes. And now I think he is already in, I feel like a dead loss game. I think so. Okay, for instance, right? This already looks dead loss in my opinion. So h4 here, I think it's a very common idea here, which I guess I will play myself. Another one is harder a little bit, but it is queen e6 or queen f5. Both are good. The thing here is simple. You want to attack using these light squares. For instance, queen h3 and nice G4, right? Take here now, and you can see now that these light squares here are insanely weak, right? And can be a very good target to attack. In fact, here it's not easy to defend, and somehow both ideas can give like a very good attacking pattern. Obviously, when you have the battery here, this one I think is somewhat more common. You know what I mean, right? So both seems to work in my opinion. But still, I think you can see, right? Black can obtain a good play here no matter what happens. In the game here, I think h3 is already somewhat, I think, a slight inaccuracy, which make the defense now for white became very hard. But what must be, I think, blame here the most for the white losses is that he just had no plan at all, and he made some, I think I would say, very careless and, you know, aimless move. And before here, he played in 4 seconds list to mid right away, right? Which made no sense. C4 must be confirmed many times. Like, you know, whatever it is, he should try and activate it, you know. In the game, he stubbornly did not, which sadly leads to his losses, right? Okay, so that's the game. I am pretty sure the game is shorter than what I expected first, but when we get to higher level, I think we can surely be able to see some better games, some more instructive game, or at least some high level games too. Okay, so here, before we stop, I want to show you the review of the game. You can feel free to ask me some questions here as well. I think I play a fine game with 90% accuracy. I'm sorry for that though. White play, I think, a pretty poor game when the opening was not too bad, but then somehow he just plays some very weird move from, let's say, like move 7 to move 9, and then he made, I think, a horrendous move here, obviously, when the before, right? But sadly, it's hard to finish well. Should he break the center and maybe he could try Fianchetto with Bishop? I mean, if he want to try to Fianchetto Bishop, he should try it much earlier. Like here, for instance, right away here. In fact, but still, it really weakened the last square, right? So it's not easy as well too. He should try press c4 so many times, which I'm pretty sure in the game he didn't see, or he just like didn't estimate it well, in my opinion. Okay, so once again, hopefully you enjoy the game, you enjoy my explanation, and you can learn something from it. I'm sorry if I'm speaking so fast, or the game may last so quick as well, but hopefully it is still enough for you guys to learn, and there are some good lessons you can try to benefit from. Sure, I will try my best to upload this quickly to my YouTube channel right here, which you can try to follow later on. I can try to watch the whole video again. Thank you for coming here, thank you for watching me, and hopefully you can give me some good feedback to improve the quality of the content. Thank you and peace.